What's up, guys? Mark from DSHD here. So I remember I posted on my Facebook group like, I don't know, like a week ago, like what you're willing to do to be successful, right? And a lot of the answers was like work, like sacrifice time, blah blah blah, a lot of basic stuff. And I just wanted to, I've been thinking about this a lot, and fuck, they're building a house next door and it's noisy as fuck. But yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was looking at like my success, both dropshipping on eBay and building DSHD and all this stuff, and talking to different dropshippers to see what they do. And I had a so I'm gonna go through a couple things that I'm willing to sacrifice for success, things I've done in the past. But this came up because I was talking to this dropshipper from Israel. Now, this morning. Now, he's not in DSHD. He uses other software, but he uses a more like, and excuse the noise because this shit, they'll stop in a second. But he has like 40,000 listens, so he doesn't use the processor we use. But I was asking him how much he works a day, and he was telling me he sells about $40,000 a month, between $40,000 and $50,000 a month, and he works somewhere between 14 and 20 hours a day. Now, I'm not saying with DSHD you have to work 14 to 20 hours a day, but what I'm just saying is talking about sacrifice, right? And I like to win, right? Winning in whatever it is, whether it's in sports, business, whether it's being successful financially. And I remember back in 2007, I got into a number of top MBA programs in the US, right? About 3 or 4 of them. And they cost anywhere from like $40,000 a year to $60,000 a year. And I didn't have the money to pay for it. And I was looking, I needed like, I got a partial scholarship to a couple big schools, and I was trying to figure out where I could get like maybe $50,000, $60,000. So I was looking, and then I can't remember how I found this, right? I really can't remember how I came across this, but I found out that selling your body parts in South Africa is not a felony. So, and then I found out in South Africa I could sell my kidney for $70,000. So the idea was I was going to, so my process at that time, because I desperately wanted to go into get into some of these MBA like go to these MBA programs. And like, for example, one of them is MIT. MIT's MBA program, like 100 at the time, the statistics was something like 100% of the people make more than $106,000 a year or something to that effect. So my thought process was, fuck it, I'll sell my kidney in South Africa, I'll go to MIT, Rice, or Yale, or one of these big schools that I got into, and once I finish, I could go look for another fucking kidney, right? So that's just one thing I was willing to do. So money was in my way. I figured out a way I could like get the money, and I was willing to do it. I ended up not doing it because I told my mother, and she was worried. And I mean, any mother would lose their mind if your son decided to sell his fucking kidney to go to school, right? But she just didn't have the money. And so I'm just follow through. So that's just one example. I mean, I've had situations. I was a manager of Target back in 2005, and I hated the job. And I lived in my car for like a few weeks to try to figure out how I could get on my feet and be like free, right? Because I hated the fucking job. And I could go on and on about things that I'm willing to, that I have sacrificed, or I was willing to sacrifice in the past to be successful. But a lot of you guys who want to be successful in dropshipping and business and eBay dropshipping, y'all are not even willing to sacrifice 4 hours a day, right? Like a lot of you guys drive to work, like half an hour to work, drive back home half an hour to hour back home, you prepare breakfast, you do all this shit, and you don't even realize that you're sacrificing time for your job or for your business. And I get, not for your business, for your job, for your employer, for your employer's business, right? And I get that a lot of people need the money and need the job. So I'm not saying quit, sacrifice your job. Fuck. I'm not saying sacrifice your job with all these fucking cars to be successful at drop shipping. But what I'm saying is try to put things into perspective. And I'm not asking what you're willing to say you're going to sacrifice to be successful. I'm asking what you're willing to actually do. If you get up 2 hours early and put in 1 hour at night or 2 hours at night, you have an extra 4 hours a day. And you have to do it for at least a month or 2 months to even consider if you could do it. So I just want to kind of like, so this is more about perspective and more about giving you some ideas and changing your thinking and how to approach this thing. Because dropshipping on eBay doesn't require tons and tons of time, but it does require consistency, it does require work, and it does require a couple hours every day for a consistent amount of time. Anyway, love you guys, travel world. Hopefully you learned from something I'm saying. Please subscribe, trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. In the description you'll see free training, free mastermind group, and free $100 giveaway. And yeah, have a good one. Later.